He was only 19 years old. The ramp dropped. Bullets hit the water like rain. He was in the first boat on Omaha Beach, and what he saw would never leave him. Private James Kelly wasn't born for war. He grew up on a farm in Iowa where the loudest sound most days was the wind through the cornfields. He had never left the United States. He had never held a rifle until basic training. But in June 1944, he was standing on a rocking metal boat in the English Channel, seasick, soaked, and scared to death. The night before the invasion, Kelly sat quietly in a tent in southern England, writing a letter to his sister. In it, he told her not to worry, that he'd be home by Christmas, and that he'd send her a piece of French chocolate. It was the kind of lie soldiers told their families and themselves. He kept the letter folded in his breast pocket. By the early morning of June 6th, the channel was filled with over 5,000 ships. From horizon to horizon, gray silhouettes moved in eerie silence toward the coast of Normandy. The men had rehearsed the landing dozens of times, but nothing could prepare them for the real thing. Kelly was in a Higgins landing craft with 30 other men from the 116th Infantry Regiment. Most of them were just boys to 18, 19, 20 years old. Some tried to joke to ease the fear. Others prayed. One man threw up for the entire hour-long ride to the shore. The officers checked their gear for the third time. Bullets would soon do the rest. As the sun began to rise behind them, the sky over the French coastline lit up. Battleships and cruisers opened fire on the German bunkers, launching shells the size of telephone poles into the hills above Omaha Beach. The noise was deafening, shaking the boat and the men inside. Kelly gripped his helmet tight, repeating the same words over and over in his mind. Just survive the beach. Just survive the beach. When the order came, the ramp dropped with a metallic slam. What happened next was chaos. Machine guns opened up from the cliffs above. The water in front of them exploded into sprays of white and red. The first man off the boat was hit before he even touched the water. The second stepped forward and collapsed immediately. Kelly jumped to the side, diving into chest-deep water. His gear dragged him down, but adrenaline pulled him back up. The sea was freezing. Bullets tore through the surface around him. He could barely breathe. He saw men screaming, thrashing, sinking. A mortar exploded nearby, sending a shock wave through the water that knocked him backward. Sand filled his mouth and nose. Kelly reached a metal tank trap, one of the many obstacles the Germans had planted in the surf. He pressed his body against it, gasping for air. Next to him, a man was yelling for a medic, holding the limp arm of a friend who wouldn't make it. The beach was worse. There was no cover. The sand was soft and deep, littered with bodies, broken rifles, and pieces of gear. Smoke filled the air, mixing with the sharp stench of gunpowder and blood. Every few seconds, another mortar hit. Screams, gunfire, and explosions blended into one continuous roar. Kelly crawled forward inch by inch. At one point he tripped over the leg of a soldier whose helmet was still on, eyes wide open, unmoving. He recognized him. They had played cards together 2 nights ago. There was no time to react. Hours passed like minutes. By the time Kelly reached the base of the cliffs, only 12 men from his original boat were still alive. They huddled behind a rock formation, waiting for reinforcements. Some cried. Some prayed. Some stared blankly, as if they'd already left the world behind. That night, Kelly dug into the earth with his hands to make a foxhole. He had lost his shovel. He shared the hole with a corporal who had taken shrapnel to the leg and refused to let a medic take him away. "I'm not leaving my men," the corporal said through clenched teeth. They didn't sleep. The beach echoed with the groans of the wounded and the distant bark of rifles. The stars above offered no comfort. In the morning, reinforcements arrived. The beachhead was secured, but the cost was devastating. Over 2,000 American soldiers had died or been wounded on Omaha Beach alone. The sand, once white, was now churned mud and ash. Kelly found the letter in his pocket. It was soaked, the ink smeared, but still intact. He never sent it. After the war, James Kelly returned home. He didn't talk much about what happened in France. He married, raised a family, worked a quiet job. But every June 6th, he took the day off. He said it was to remember the boys. In 1994, for the 50th anniversary of D-Day, Kelly returned to Omaha Beach. He stood near the surf, silent, eyes fixed on the cliffs. A reporter asked him what he felt standing there again. "I don't feel like a hero," he said. "I feel lucky, and I miss my friends. History remembers generals and politicians. It remembers speeches and treaties. But war is fought by young men with shaky hands, with fear in their stomachs and mud in their boots. Men like James Kelly. He wasn't in the history books. He didn't win medals. But on D-Day, he was there, in the first boat, and he lived to tell the story. And now, so do you."